Well, welcome back, Portal Masters, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. This is Brightlander with Portal Power TV, and we are back with a little update. I was wrong about something. I know that's probably hard to believe, but I was wrong about something. And in a previous video, I reported on our Swap Force characters here and how they work in the Nintendo Switch. And I reported that they didn't work and they didn't swap. But I'm here to tell you that they do, and let me show you what it is that I made a mistake about. So, first things first is right now I'm actually playing with one of my Imaginators. There's old Buzz Lightyear that I made in a previous video. If you missed it, please go back and check it out if you're so interested. But I'm going to hit this button right here, which takes us to this menu, which is the Chain Skylander, or I call it the Portal of Power screen. And basically it gives us our portal where it can read here on the Joy-Con. So previously, when I took a Swap Force character and I put it right here on the Joy-Con, what it would do is read both magic parts. Okay, you see how that works? And then when I would take him off, I would then go back to the menu like you do all the time. You have to scan all your figures in twice. But notice that Trap Shadow is not here. And so that's what I reported. It wouldn't scan them or something like that. And then also, it didn't matter whether you scanned the tops or whether you switched them, it didn't put them in there anyway. Well, what was happening is it was actually putting them all the way out of sequence at the very beginning of my digital library. And there were a few people in my videos, and thank you guys for that did comment, but basically it was putting them way over up here. And there's the Trap Shadow that I just scanned in just a second ago. Okay, now notice it's got his top and not his bottom. And what's going to be interesting here is if, let's say I take Magna Charge here, and even if I swap them and put Trap Shadow's top on Magna Charge's bottom, and I try to scan this, I don't even know if it'll scan without being that one. That's actually scanning it. Okay. So, notice it's still reading as Trap Shadow, which is really weird. I guess because I was on Trap Shadow. So, again, it's working a little funky and a little cattywampus. But again, we go all the way back to the beginning of the list. There we go. So there's Trap Shadow. Alright. So there's Trap Shadow. Now, but if I take off this and I put, well, let's leave them that way. But I go back to the very beginning where the original scan was. La-di-da-di-da. Takes forever. This is the one drawback to the digital library is if you've got a lot of characters, it takes forever to scan through them. Okay, so now that I've got him swapped, I'm going to scan him with him being open, and we'll see what pops up. Now see, it's reading tech, not magic, and even though I've got him swapped, only Magna Charge shows up entirely. And if I click here and go back into the portal screen, again scanning all the way to the front, that's where all the swappers go for some reason, the Swap Force characters. There we go, right there. So there's Magna Charge. So he's showing up in here. But now, all right, here's what it is. So first of all, it shows their tops, and they're scanned in, but their bottoms are not there. So when you select one of these, now what it's doing is it's giving you the possibility of picking the bottom from any of the other swappers that you scanned in. So it actually pulls up another quick little menu. So if I want, and it also tells me the names, so I can make Magna Ranger, Magna Kraken, Magna Bomb, Magna Shadow, Magna Charge, or Magna Blade. And I can, once I pick which one I want, so if I want the Magna Shadow or Magna Bomb, I click it, It shows the mix right there, the swap, and there he goes. Alright, so that's actually how the swappers work. So they do actually function, guys. I know there were a lot of people that commented in my video that, boy, they just ruined all of the Skylanders Imaginators on the Switch and that they weren't going to get it. But I'm telling you what, the more I play the game, the more I find out about how it works. There are some changes that you just have to get used to because it's not what we're used to from before. But the game does function, and it has most of the elements that we're used to. And the swappers do work, and I was incorrect about that, and I apologize. And thank you to everyone that took the time to point that out. And so I knew I had to make an update video, just showing you guys that our swappers do in fact work. Now the one thing that does change, and I will show you this though, when you put the swappers in the game, notice, here I'm just going to pick one of these. I probably could have just stayed with Magnet Charge to show you this. The swappers, if you have a level up or something like that on the swappers, that level does not, however, transfer into this game. So, okay, we'll go with legendary free. We'll just go with the full-blown legendary free rangers. So we'll stick with the character just the way it's intended. So there's legendary free ranger. When you first scan them in, they automatically are at level 20, but have no money. And they also have none of their upgrades. So even if you had them completely upgraded before, top and or bottom, you will have to earn the money, and you will have to completely level them up all over again in this game. And my understanding is, and I'm only going off of this because I have not had a chance to try this yet, you cannot actually resave them back to the toys in this case. So, you know, the one thing about this, though, is I've pretty much made the decision that once I, you know, put a character into the game like this on my Nintendo Switch, I'm not going to be going to Wendell over here and resaving them back onto the toy. I'm going to treat my Switch version of Skylanders and the characters.
I hear things from time to time, mostly just voices.
Because here's Wendell, and this is typically where if you've uploaded your characters and you want to save their new progress back onto the toy, this is where you do it. You put the toy back on here, and whatever level that you've upgraded them to in the Nintendo Switch will now be put back on the toy. But there's a warning, okay? If you played with your toy on a different console than the Switch, or a different account even, and you've leveled them up higher than what is on the Switch, and you use this, you're basically going to overwrite and put the Switch's version back on the toy. So you're basically downgrading them. So it is a little confusing, and you got to be very careful that if you're playing your toys on multiple consoles, which was the newer version and which one wasn't. So, and there are instructions here to tell you how to go about making sure you're doing it the right way. Anyhow, but like I was starting to say, you know, at this point, once I load up all my characters, I'm going to just count my Nintendo version as standalone, and I'm not going to pay attention that if I played on my other console, my toy may be a higher level than the one I have in my Nintendo, but I'm just going to leave them that way. I'm not going to bother switching them back and forth and saving the different game progresses and stuff like that. I'm going to leave them on my Switch. I can travel with them, and as I level it up on the Switch, it is what it is. So anyway, that's how I plan on using it. Let me know below in the comments what your thoughts are about that and how you plan on using it if you're going to be getting the Switch and Skylanders Imaginators for it. But like I said, guys, you know, a lot of you seemed a little disoriented with it, but to be honest, the more and more I play on the Switch with Skylanders and be able to move and travel with it and not having to get up and walk across my living room or into the other room where all my other Skylanders are and hunt one down, the digital library is actually really functional and a lot easier, even though it takes like a minute to scan through and find the character you want. That still takes less time than getting up, walking across the house, finding where you hid your character, picking it up, scanning it in, you know, like you would normally on the other things. So, but at the same time, you still have the ability of doing so. In other words, if I go into the app here, into this part, and let's just say hypothetically, oh heck, Well, you know, I just scanned Trap Shadow in a second ago, and even though I'm on this screen right here, I decide to go ahead and just take this guy and scan it. Or if I'm in my scan screen, well, let me just get one of these. So here's a Imaginator that I just made, and I want to go ahead and put this on here just to scan it. Alright, so I'm scanning this Imaginator, and this just happens to be He-Man, and I did that video just real recently. And in order to lock that in, I gotta double scan it. Okay, so I'm gonna open here. There's my second scan.
Can't hold a candle to my valor.
Okay, neat thing is that this can still be owned by another console, but with the Switch, you can still, without having to claim it, you know, it says claim ownership normally right here, I can still just rename it. So I can go right into the menu. Oops. My fingers aren't working. Not He-Man. He-Man. There we go.
Change is part of life, especially my life.
Alright, so I've got He-Man in there.
Game on.
And if I decide I want to just go into the portal screen, and let's say this one ends up being buried way back here because it's not gonna, I can be on this screen, and even I just take any toy and just put it right on here, it's going to scan it and pull it up.
Can't hold a candle.
See, so you can still scan them if you like that concept of having to scan the toys to put them in the game. So you don't lose that. And if I go back in here, notice it didn't put, you know, it didn't put it in there again. It's still the same one. So that's good to go. You didn't lose anything there. So the digital library doesn't take away from the element of the game and what Skylanders was intended to be or anything like that. So anyway, there is our update. I appreciate you guys paying attention and joining me for this video, and I'm sure I'll see you in the next. Matter of fact, I've got to think about what Imaginator I want to make next. So if you have any idea, comments below. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining. This is Brylander with Portal Power TV, signing off. Take care, and God bless.